Because it hurts.
He's giving an advanced speech of some kind. He's speaking out of the book, out of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. The Heaven Sent Encourager. Help me welcome Vicki Chatterton.
This evening I've chosen to read out of the book of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. What this is a collection of short stories that Jack Canfield and his team have collected and put into books. And this one is The Caregiver's Soul. And the piece that I've chosen this evening is The Heaven Sent Encourager. Summers in the mile-high Rocky Mountain state of Colorado can be quite hot, and on this scorching Saturday afternoon, I was driving home alone in my wheelchair-accessible van. As I skillfully carved my way along the curving country road, I congratulated myself on the high level of independence I had achieved. Despite having been 80% paralyzed for almost 35 years, at 18, I was working the summer between high school and college on Massachusetts resort island of Martha's Vineyard. On the 4th of July morning, I innocently dove from the pier during a low tide and broke my neck at the C5-6 level. The spinal cord injury caused lifelong motor and sensory paralysis below my chest, with limited arm use and no finger movement. As a quadriplegic, I lived a fulfilled lifestyle despite my dependence on motorized wheelchair and mobility and daily help from college student caregivers whom I personally hired and coordinated. My graduate education has qualified me to serve my peers with disabilities as a university administrator, designer, and marketer of accessible fitness equipment, author, and future university professor. So while I remain mostly paralyzed, I routinely enjoyed independence and very active lifestyle during the daytime hours between my morning and evening aids. The summer breeze of my open windows mixed with the jazz of a Denver radio station, the freedom I enjoy today had required years of practice and also required that I occasionally nap so I can get through each demanding day. Looking forward to a 15-minute rest, I drove into the parking lot of a rural church. To avoid being interrupted, I pulled into the lot's far corner and opened my side door toward a massive cornfield. Deciding to snooze in the sun, I began wheeling the van's 4 feet long ramp. Halfway down the ramp, I somehow lost my balance and for a split second fell forward. I was still sitting in the wheelchair, however my body was bent at the waist and my head was now between my knees. Due to paralysis, I lacked both trunk and sufficient arm muscle for sitting back upright. I was in serious trouble. If drivers on the distant road looked at my way toward the side of the van, they would quickly dismiss the appearance of a parked empty vehicle. There was little sense in wasting precious breath or energy to yell for help, as I was facing an empty field. It was about 2 o'clock, and if no one rescued me during the remaining daylight, I estimated churchgoers would find me the following morning, as they became curious after attending services. As a reminder of the passing hours, my radio in the van was playing. During the first hour, my body stretched in its contorted position, my head gradually slipping lower and lower. By 4 o'clock, my head was between my calves, and breathing was more difficult. I felt my face and lips swelling. I knew that to increase any slim chance of survival, I would need to turn down my metabolism and breathing. Mind control was the trick I had learned during many hospital surgeries. Several times while connected to pulse monitor, I found amazing correlations between purposeful, stressful thoughts and elevated pressure and pulse rates, and then conversely, thinking calm thoughts and dramatically slowing down my system. Within current crisis, I guessed I could only benefit from the attempting of the low extreme. I slowly and calmly went down into the dark, quiet caverns of my mind and was quietly successful in achieving a partial coma. My next memory was hearing the radio 6 o'clock news. Well, I had helped my chances of medical survival during those 3 or 4 hours. I had done nothing to increase my chances of being rescued. The sun was over the field, was getting lower, and in 2 hours my empty van would disappear into the sun until the Sunday morning church bells called the faithful to find my body. I wondered a few minutes what kinds of stories the community and press would create to explain the fatal situation they encountered. I guess I was adjusting my mindset for what now seemed inevitable. After 4 hours of waning hope, I was preparing to die. My wife and I were very close. Several times that afternoon, I had attempted to send her clairvoyant messages. With all my mental strength, I repeatedly transmitted, "Peggy, I'm in serious trouble. Peggy, I'm dying. Please rush. Emergency. Boulder route." But now, several hours later, there was no sign of her or anyone else. It was time to put my affairs in order. I expressed my love to Peggy and to God. I asked him or her for forgiveness. During the 35 years of living with my disability, I had often attempted to find meaning or purpose for my life, to view the disability as an asset for which others and I could learn and benefit, instead of merely cursing it as a senseless liability to endure. I expressed to God my hope that I had accomplished whatever my goals had been. And with that thought, I expressed one final request. God, please, I've endured and survived this situation as long as I can believe. If I have completed my work in this lifetime, please help me to die soon and in a peaceful way. I believe I have treated others. However, if my work for this lifetime is not through, I need a miracle. Please send someone to rescue me in the next 10 or 15 minutes because I can't survive much longer. With that all-out final plea, I surrendered myself to whatever would occur in the next few minutes and began to gaze absent-mindedly at the underside of the van behind me. I had been fighting to survive for over 6 hours. The 8 o'clock news was announced, and on the radio my lips had become so swollen that I felt ready to pop. And my breath was so difficult that I was limiting myself to 8 or 10 deep breaths per minute. About 10 minutes after my plea to God, I was sent a true miracle. My blind, mindless gaze under the van was suddenly broken by what I thought, but couldn't initially believe, was a pair of feet in sneakers. With a surge of hope, I summoned all the air and strength remaining in my lungs and screamed, "Help! Help me, please! I'm on the other side of the van!" The feet stood motionless for a second, then slowly walked around the van, stopped in front of me. The man stood still and slowly asked in a deep voice, "Are you okay? Please, I need your help. Please leave my shoulders so I can sit up." As he did so with ease, I found my face to face with a large man whose facial expression indicated confusion. The look increased as I started to cry and sob uncontrollably in gratitude and relief. Thank you so much." "Have you been here long?" he asked slowly in a caring tone. His name was Frank, and from my professional experience, I guess he had a developmental disability. He lived locally with a family and had a part-time job as a groundskeeper with the church. "Frank, there is no doubt that you just saved my life. Thank you." He smiled quietly. I suspected that if he informed his family of what happened, they might not believe him. I scribbled his address and vowed I would immediately write him and his family a brief letter confirming the details, repeating my appreciation and providing my contact information. I asked Frank, "Why did you walk to this remote corner of the church parking lot today so late in the afternoon?" "I noticed your van parked next to the sprinkler head that's been broken for a long time. Reminded me I should fix it. I've been putting off coming here to look at it, but for some weird reason, I guess I felt like checking it this afternoon. I have no idea why I chose today." He may have no idea, but I did, to prove to me 3 things. Miracles do happen, my disability has a purpose, and it's not a random, senseless tragedy, and caregivers are indeed among the most caring, loving, and supportive people on earth, and some are sent from heaven.